Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks so much for joining us on our very first episode of the Retic Lounge. I am Lucas Bagnera. This is Nathan Katz, your co-host for this podcast. We have been so excited to be able to bring this podcast to life, and we spent a lot of time planning it out, and we are very excited to bring it to you. Nathan, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm excited, a little nervous about doing this, and just really excited to give back to a community, the Retic community that I feel like I've been getting a lot from over the last several years. So yeah, I mean, we are going to be. This episode is going to be, again, like episode 0, so we're not going to be jumping into any of the topics that we're going to be talking about, but we just wanted to share with you guys what our podcast is going to be about and are just really excited to present this information. In this episode, you're going to hear about my background in getting into retics and snakes in general. Same with Nathan, and then we're just going to kind of outline what we're going to be doing, what the community of the Retic Lounge is going to be about.
Yeah, so I'll start it off. I'm Nathan Katz. I operate Katz Reptiles out of Salt Lake City, Utah. I got my first super dwarf reticulated python, about 6 years ago. And got back into snakes about 8 to 10 years ago. I got back into reptiles, I should say. My parents wouldn't let me have snakes growing up. After a buddy of mine who got a Burmese python gave me a couple of his ball pythons, so that got me started watching YouTubers like Brian Barczyk, and then hearing about super dwarf reticulated pythons. It was always kind of this mystery of how big the things actually got, but I was lucky enough to have a couple buddies here in Utah who came to a local meetup and brought some of their super dwarfs out, and I was able to get my hands on them, really talk to them about what these animals are like, see what the parents looked like, and decide that these were going to be the right species for me to get into. So after I got my first super dwarf, the ball pythons, the boa constrictor that I was keeping at the time, they all got rehomed to proper homes, and I've just really put my focus into the super dwarf thing. My animals, the two that I started out with, are both 75% Kalatoa and 12.5% Jampea. I have a 87.5% Kalatoa tiger. Those are all females. And then I have a couple holdbacks from clutch from the purple albino. And a phantom tiger male from Reach Out Reptiles. So all high percentage Kalatoa stuff that I'm working with right now, but I'm just trying to keep everything small and manageable. I've had some back issues in my life, so it's just trying to keep things sizable, and I think that's a good place for our industry right now, and a good place for people to start, especially with these animals.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that statement. I went the complete opposite route. I'll talk a little bit about that once I get towards the end of my introduction. But yeah, so I've been keeping snakes since my first snake was a red rat snake when I was 5 years old. I really contribute and thank my dad. My dad was the one who kind of introduced me, and he wasn't a snake keeper. He didn't know anything about them, but I went into a pet store and was like, ooh, I like those. And then one day I came home and he had bought the one that I liked, which was awesome. And then throughout my childhood into my teenage and high school years, I kept ball pythons mostly. I mean, even just going back to the support that my parents had of me, I was in like my junior year and senior year of high school, building up a ball python collection of like 4 or 5. This was like back in 2009, 2010, where I was getting spider ball pythons. And, I know there's like a big negative thing about spider ball pythons now, but back in 2009, I love them. Pastel ball pythons, regular ball pythons. I kept carpet pythons, Argentine boas, Burmese pythons growing up, and I rehomed the Burmese python when I was moving back to my hometown. I was in Miami at the time, And so when I left off to college, I had to rehome my snakes, and I never really thought that my dreams of being able to like breed snakes was going to happen. I had wanted to do that since I was like 11, watching Brian Barczyk, and it was something that I got married, and my wife found out how big of a nerd I was for snakes, and my love for retics sparked very early, and I just thought I'd never be able to own them because of how big they got. And I came across a post on the old forum days on websites on snakes.com in the UK of a honey island, aka Madu locality retic, and everyone was calling them Superdwarf, and I was like, what is this? And from that was like in 2010, and from that point forward, I was like dead set on owning a Superdwarf retic, and I got my first one in 2018, 4.5 years ago. And today, unlike Nathan, taking it slow and steady, I took it slow and steady my first couple years, and now my collection, I'm at 20 snakes with 7 different localities. I started off being a Superdwarf set on the Superdwarf, but as I grew with my snakes and got more confidence, now I'm just kind of a locality nerd, and that's kind of my passion. I am the owner of Lab Exotics, and yeah, that's a little bit about my background on keeping retics, and yeah, I mean, as you can see, just like with the experience that Nathan and I have, 10 years combined, we are not experts in,
Not at all.
yeah, we're not experts in keeping and breeding retics. I think Nathan's had 1 season of breeding. I've had 2 seasons of breeding. With 1 successful clutch I've been able to sell. This is all still very new to us, and that's kind of exactly what this podcast is about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, going back to what you were saying when you said you fell in love with reticulated pythons, but there are these big animals you weren't sure if you were able to keep. That same guy who gave me my first couple snakes, I mean, he was always talking about, even though he had this new albino berm, that he wanted to get into retics, but he also told me, kind of the old school thought process on retics, them being just wild, crazy animals. And I never saw myself getting into these animals until some of those myths were broken for me. I got hands-on experience and, just got advice from others. So that's what we're hoping to really provide for other people and have other people provide in our community too.
Yeah. So the point of this podcast really for you guys is we want to build a community for new keepers, inspiring breeders, and to encourage other breeders who've been doing this for a while to come in and join in, and for all of us to learn together, grow together, share our passion for these animals, and just really have a place to discuss the so many different and unique ways of keeping these animals, keeping them healthy, keeping them happy, and providing you guys an inside look of what's worked for us, what hasn't worked for us, and exactly what Nathan said, a realistic standpoint on keeping these animals. There's a lot of misinformation, even about the Superdwarf and Dwarf retics, about size and temperament, and so we're going to be speaking a lot through experiential perspectives, as well as giving you guys information that we have gotten from mentors, and just helping you guys be the best keepers and breeders you can possibly be, as we also learn from you guys, which I think is awesome too. If we can have a big community of people to all discuss ideas, I'm looking forward just as much to providing you guys with info as you guys are providing us with info. And I think I'm really excited about that portion.
Yeah, I think this is a giant opportunity for not only us to grow as keepers and breeders, but other people in this industry starting out, whether they be new or old, to, always be adapting to what's changing, other thoughts behind husbandry, breeding, that kind of thing. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited for the topics that we're going to bring to the table. I mean, so Nathan and I have discussed what our formatting wants to do. We're going to be doing like 90% pre-recorded stuff. We'll go live and do some interviews with some of our Patreon guests, and we'll get a little bit into the Patreon stuff later. But what we're looking to do is we are going to have episodes on basic husbandry and to more advanced husbandry, basic breeding segments. We want to bring a lot of information to the table on basic care, to as advanced as we can provide and what we've been informed about. We're looking to also have interviews with well-established people in the community, but just as importantly, you new individuals that are new into keeping retics. One thing I wish that I would have gotten the opportunity was to kind of just share my love and passion for these retics earlier on, and never got that chance. And so we want to provide new keepers, new aspiring breeders, a chance to get on, do some interviews, talk about what you guys are doing and how you guys are advancing the industry as well. We're also going to be doing Q&A episodes. If you join our Patreon, you'll have opportunities to send us questions your way, and we'll have Q&A episodes, whether it's a bunch of questions that we ask rapid fire, or that we answer rapid fire, or just like we keep getting the same question over and over, and we'll have an episode with just a big daunting question that a lot of people have. We're really excited to bring this to you guys. So before we get into talking about our Patreon, because I'm excited for that, if you guys want to listen to us, there's different ways to do this. So for those of you that are actually listening right now through a podcast platform, we're going to be on most of the major podcast platforms, and we're also going to be uploading our video podcast to YouTube. So you'll be able to catch us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so you'll have different ways to hear what we have to say and what we're offering, and be a part of the community, whether that be while you're cleaning cages and just listening to us on Spotify, or if you guys want to actually watch the content and see how awkward we are on video for the first several episodes, because this is very new to us, feel free to do that. Join us. And the thing that we're most excited for is the interaction. So like, subscribe, follow, comment, and we'll respond to every comment that you guys have and questions that you have on there. We're, like I said, this is a community that we're really excited to bring together and just help people out that we were fortunate enough to be helped as new keepers a few years ago, and we want to be able to provide back to the community. So Nathan, you've done an amazing job with organizing our Patreon content and information so far. So go ahead and tell them what our Patreon has to offer.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just another way for you guys to interact with us on a different level. So we have a few different tiers, ranging anywhere from $5 all the way to $50 for a few different perks. Lucas had mentioned the Zoom meetings and the Q&As. Also, you can get ad-free episodes on there. There's some tiers that'll give you 30-minute early access to our Zoom meetings, some stickers, 15% off our future merch, free shipping on our orders, merch at cost, that kind of thing. And then if you're really wanting to go in, we have a $50 tier that is called the Lazy Bones tier. And that gives you all the perks. The Lazy Bones tier. That gives you all the perks. Plus, once you've been a member for a couple months, you get free shipping on all animals produced by either Lab Exotics or Cats Reptiles. So that's something exciting for us too.
I'm really excited with how much effort we put into the cheesiness of our tiers, considering that our podcast is called the Retic Lounge. Can you share like the different names of the tiers?
Yeah, I mean, lazy bones I'm the most proud of for sure, right? So, getting into it, you have your $5 tier, that's your lounger, your $10 tier, sofa spud, uh, and then your $20 tier is the couch potato, and then you jump over to the lazy bones.
Yeah, Lazy Bones is great. I'm not gonna lie. I think my favorite one is the sofa spud. Yeah, so I think that we have, our Patreon is going to grow as we it's new. Obviously, you guys are listening for the first time, hearing about this, and so as we grow in that community, we are going to want feedback from you guys. What would be beneficial for you guys to have as you join our Patreon? So don't be shy. Nathan and I are very vocal and willing to help, reaching out to us on how we
Absolutely.
can provide you guys with just a great, intimate, good experience on being able to join the community and join this goal that we have of just bringing new keepers, new breeders all together. Yeah, I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, man, me too. It's a good opportunity for everyone involved. I think we're gonna share a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool stories from our 5, 6 years, however many we've had together combined, just years of keeping these animals. Um, Excited to hear from other people how we can keep these animals better, maybe increase uh, our our breeding potential, anything like that. I mean, it's just going to be fun to learn from each other.
Yeah, 100%. For those of you that have been searching for information about like the unspoken information about breeding or the secrets that people like to keep to themselves, we're going to kind of be exposing what's worked for us and kind of give you that access to being able to get like true real life information on how to keep and how to breed these animals that's worked for us, and information that we've gotten.
And if it's something you should be
Yeah,
doing,
exactly.
it's also something we're going to touch on. We're going to touch on everything that could possibly go into responsibly keeping these animals.
100%. And so, with that being said, we are going to be uploading our episodes once a week, every Friday. We might have hiccups during the beginning as we learn how to just kind of get the uploaded platforms on going, but we are definitely going to be bringing you guys weekly content. We're going to be working really hard to make sure that we don't stay stagnant and we're relevant for you guys and we can provide back to you guys. Again, please comment down below on things that you guys are excited to hear about, to listen about. Give us some feedback and share what you guys are really excited to talk about and make this a place where we can all engage. We've talked about this before, but we're not experts, and we're looking to you guys to also kind of drive and make this community a positive, big atmosphere for those of you that are new. Anything else we should touch on, Nathan? I mean, I think we're getting close to kind of wrapping up what we plan to do.
Yeah, just make sure you guys are supporting USARC. There's a few ways you can support them for free. Subscribe to their newsletter through their website. Go to their Instagram and YouTube and make sure you're subscribed there. And then if you have a few extra bucks, become a member. Donate when you're at some NARBC shows or when you have a few extra bucks to spend over with USARC as well. If you're shipping out any reptiles through Ship Your Reptiles, make sure that box is clicked. Donate that $1 every time that you're shipping out animals. It goes a long way.
Yeah. So we are excited to bring to you on our next episode our very first interview, in which we get to interview Brian Cusco of Triple B TV. A lot of you know him for his YouTubing, keeping ball pythons, but he has several retics that he's gotten the experience to. So we're going to get his real life outlook on keeping retics. And again, just another opportunity for you guys to hear the reality of someone else in the community and their experience of keeping retics, because that's exactly what we want to bring to you guys is the amazing things, the good things, the real things, the bad things that come along with keeping these amazing animals that we're excited for. I think that should wrap up this episode. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. Like, comment, and subscribe on all platforms if you guys are wanting to support us here at the Retic Lounge. And you guys have a good evening.